Good morning and welcome into the Cowboys Report. Some breaking news this morning as the Cowboys have cut wide receiver James Washington, ending a rather uneventful tenure in less than a year with the Dallas Cowboys. We'll break down all of this, what it means, why the Cowboys cut Washington, but this is exactly why you guys subscribe to us here at the Cowboys Report. When there is Cowboys news, we have you guys covered. News, rumors, live watch parties. We have everything you need here on the Dallas Cowboys from the offseason and the regular season, of course, as well. Hit that subscribe button for free right now. Washington's time in Dallas is over, at least on the active roster. I suppose they could always bring him back to the practice squad in the event no one claims him, although, maybe he doesn't want to go back to the practice squad there. Washington never made much of an impact for the Dallas Cowboys. He was the free agency addition who was, as some of us out there tried to caution, don't get your hopes up too high there. He missed the first 13 weeks of the season with a foot injury. Amid all of the Odell Beckham rumors, they had activated Washington to the roster, brought him back. He played in a couple of games. He was in a healthy scratch the past couple. In the end, Washington made no impact, really, for this Dallas Cowboys team. He was more talked about in terms of what could he do? Could he be your vertical threat? That was the goal. And then T.Y. Hilton came in and immediately outplayed Washington in every sense, in every facet of the offense. The final stat line for James Washington this year, 15 snaps on offense. There were a little bit more than he normally gets on special teams, but he wasn't doing much of anything on special teams because, simply put, he's just not a special teamer at all. That's just the reality of the standpoint there. He just doesn't offer you anything in the end. One target this year for the Dallas Cowboys. He dropped it. Now, he got hit pretty hard on the play, so I'm not going to blame all of that on Washington, but he simply did not make any impact that was needed for the Dallas Cowboys. That's why they were so aggressive in exploring other options and why they chose to sign in the end T.Y. Hilton. It just made sense. So is cutting James Washington the right move for the Dallas Cowboys? We'll make this the pinned comment, actually, on today's show. So if an ad break happens to come here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there, type in Y for yes or N for no. It's the pinned comment. You know where it is. Head down there, Y or N. With what we've seen so far with Washington, simply put, this move just makes sense. You got guys hopefully coming back from injured reserve soon. We'll break that down later on in today's show. But you didn't need another wide receiver who simply wasn't contributing for you in the way you needed him to. Jalen Tolbert alone is not playing very much for you. But think about this. With where the wide receiver room currently sits, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Noah Brown, T.Y. Hilton, all clearly more productive than James Washington. Kevontae Turpin doesn't do much on offense either, but he gives you way more value as a special teamer. And Jalen Tolbert has more upside long term, so they're not going to bail on him. That's already 6 deep at wide receiver. You don't need 7. You were having 2 healthy scratches every single week the past couple weeks on offense because you got Lamb and Gallup and Brown and Hilton and Turpin all out there and active. It wasn't much of a surprise, the Cowboys, knowing they needed space, were going to make a move at wide receiver. It was, hey, do we keep Washington and come with an injury and IR stash Jalen Tolbert secretly, or do we just cut our losses and move on from Washington? In the end, they want to keep Tolbert around the organization, keep him involved and engaged, and continue to grow and learn, because there's a big jump from South Alabama all the way up to the Dallas Cowboys NFL. There's a massive jump there. Washington just wasn't needed on this team anymore. Now, do you know how much subscriptions really cost? Speaking of things you don't need, most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions. The actual total is closer to $200. That's right. You could be wasting $100 of dollars each month on subscriptions you don't even know about. You don't even need. There's this app I love using that takes care of that for me. It's called Rocket Money, formerly known as Truebill. The app shows all your subscriptions in one place and then cancels for you whatever you don't still want. Rocket Money can even find subscriptions you didn't know you were paying for. You've been double charged for a subscription potentially as well. To cancel a subscription, all you have to do on Rocket Money is press cancel. That's it. No more trying to remember your password, then forget password. Then you got to verify it's you with the two-factor, or you got to confirm you're not a robot, which of course you're not a robot, and you got to pick all the vertical rivers or the buses. It's all very weird. Rocket Money makes it easy for you. Go to rocketmoney.com/Cowboys to get rid of useless subscriptions. Could save you hundreds per year. rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. Links in the comments section and the description of today's show. The addition of T.Y. Hilton, quite frankly, meant the Cowboys didn't need James Washington. Hilton has wildly outplayed Washington. Frankly, he's been what we were all hoping Odell Beckham could end up being, I should say. 6 targets, 5 catches and 2 yards, has drawn some critical PI calls as well. Hilton's been awesome, and it means the Cowboys don't need James Washington. It's time for a one-word reaction. What is your one-word reaction to the release and the cut of James Washington? Surprised? Disappointed? What is it? Sound off in the comment section. My one word is understandable. I understand why they've made this move. I get it. It's not like a wow, like the same way it was when they cut Jalen Smith last year or whatever it was, a couple years ago, like that, or 2 years ago. That one isn't as surprising. Look, Washington's been a healthy scratch. He has been. He's not contributing to this team. And I've made this point many a time before, and it's true again. Teams don't want a wide receiver 5 with no special team value. That's what James Washington is right now. He's probably a better receiver at this point than Kevontae Turpin, but he doesn't help you on special teams. Barring injury, he's just not going to play. He's not going to be active. And at that point, you're maybe arguing to keep wide receiver 6, and it's the young guy or the old guy. They're always going to take the young guy, the former third-round pick in Turpin, or Tolbert, who they got to hope for long-term. Washington just didn't make an impact in Dallas at all, and frankly, I think this was what we were a little worried about. My concern was when he suffered that foot injury, the Washington role was going to be until Gallup came back, and then maybe he can stick around longer as a wide receiver 4, beat out Noah Brown, whatever, and that's just not been the case. He was not that good in Pittsburgh. The numbers declined outside of one nice year in 2019. He was never that productive. The expectations, I think, from some got a little bit high, and frankly, that's the Cowboys' fault. The Cowboys had said, we're fine, we don't need receiver. Look, we got James Washington for you. And then, of course, like, oops, well, they try to go get Brandon Cooks and Odell Beckham and eventually land on a good player in T.Y. Hilton. So expectations were probably a bit out of whack, but it's a little disappointing for your one of your big, quote unquote. Remember, the 2 big guys they signed were back-to-back days, Dante Fowler, or back-to-back hours, really, 2 hours apart. Fowler and James Washington. Well, Fowler's been a nice piece. Washington, not so much. Now, the Cowboys do free up a roster spot with this move. The 2 names to keep an eye out for: interior offensive lineman Matt Farniok and defensive tackle Johnathan Hankins. The Cowboys do not have to bring back anyone if they don't want to this week, since it's the Commanders. They're not trying. They're going to probably start Taylor Heineke. You'll see some Sam Howell. They're just exploring and testing players. We'll see if they bench anyone. Farniok has had, or will have today, I should say. It's not official yet. But his 21-day practice window will be activated officially to return. We'll see if he comes back this week or not, but they're thin on the offensive line. I'd love to get him back. Hankins, the goal is for the playoffs, so we'll check in again on that one next week. So grade, now that we know everything about it, the James Washington signing. A, B, C, D, or F. Sound off for me in the comment section. It's a lower grade. I mean, he had 0 catches. Like, you can't give it a positive 1. In the end, he hit a drop. Thank you, Jack. In the end, it was a non-impact signing. Now, disappointment because that was the big offensive move they made, right? From a money perspective, it's not that much of a loss. James Washington basically got the vet minimum. There was a little bit of guaranteed money signing bonus-wise, but his base salary was fully guaranteed. He didn't really cost them that much. At the same point, the cap savings for this move also just don't really exist. You could cut James Washington. By cutting James Washington, if a team claims him, they will pick up the remainder of his base salary, which is like $60,000. So it doesn't really matter in the end. I doubt he gets claimed. Be happy if someone does claim him. Cool, take him, save a little bit of money there. But the base salary was fully guaranteed, so he's going to get that no matter what. At this point, you're saving a week's worth of salary. It doesn't really impact things at all. One note before we go. No, the release of James Washington does not mean Odell Beckham Jr. is coming. He's not healthy. There's no point in adding a player who can't help you at this moment. This is just freeing up a roster spot, trimming off some fat that you just didn't need at the wide receiver room, and as you get some guys healthy, they can take that open spot.